Hey guys, welcome back to SLT Learning, and this is Ankit Prajapati, and today we're gonna cover another question on API testing and rest assured side. So if you are preparing for QA automation interviews, I would suggest just go through our playlist, and that will help you with the most frequently asked common questions in API interviews. And these questions we take from our candidate who appear for a real interviews on their after the training. So this is gonna definitely useful for you to prepare and answer in your interview, guys. Okay, so let's see what we're gonna cover today. So have you performed the load testing on API, or which tools did you use? Okay, so when they will talk about the API, sometimes they will talk about the API performance testing or the performance load testing in API. Those are quite similar. If you are experiencing API side, then definitely performance of the API and the performance testing will definitely come. And how you should answer these questions, let's see with the syntax. Okay, so API load testing is a common part of performance testing. Okay, and the end goal is to see how API behave under the expected condition, under the peak condition, and under the stress condition. So these are the couple of things we should perform to do the API load testing. Okay, so yes, in simple word you can just say yes, I know how to perform the load testing in API side, and I have used the Postman tool and the JMeter tool to do the performance testing for API. I also aware about how to use rest assured to perform the looping concept to do the API testing. Okay, the load API testing. So purpose of the load testing will be in API: validate the response type, throughput, and the error rate under the load, identify the bottleneck in a server, network side, or a database side, and ensure the API meets the SLA performance criteria. So these are the couple of things that they are the key purpose of the performing the load API testing. Okay, validate the response time, identify the bottleneck, and ensure the API meet with the SLA. Then tools that I have used, you can answer like that way: JMeter. This is one of the popular open source API load testing tool which support the REST and SOAP APIs, allow parameterizations, correlations, and assertions, can simulate the 100 and 1000 concurrent users using the thread group and thread pool, and good for the integration with the CI/CD pipeline. Okay. Then Postman plus Newman. I have used the Postman mainly for functional testing, but with the Newman command line integration and plus collection, you can run the multiple requests in a loop for the light of load testing, and not suitable for the high concurrence testing. So most of the times when you do the API testing in a for the performance side, you will use the JMeter tool. Okay, Postman is kind of things, but it is not recommended to do the performance testing with the multiple users, with the seeing the real scenarios that we can generate in the JMeter. We cannot do in a Postman very easily. Okay, then typical load testing in a workflow. So what are the different things you can perform? So identify test scenario. So first pick up the critical API endpoint, define the load profile, like you want to go with the 100 users wrapping in the 5 minutes, or 200 or 500 users in a 10 minutes, something like that way. This ramping will be the kind of terminology that you use in a JMeter, right? That you need to pick the you need to increase the load on the API call, or you want to decrease the load, kind of stuff you can define. So first identify the test scenarios, design your test plan. In a JMeter you can set up the thread group, virtual users, and parameterize your request data, and then put the assertions when the correctness count under the load testing. Okay, so design your test plan. Then execute your test cases, run with gradually increasing load, as I told you, right, from the baseline to stress, and from stress to baseline. Monitor the metrics like average response time. Then these are the couple of parameters that you will see in a JMeter, which will help you to do the performance testing and to identify if they are performing good or not. Okay, then analyze the result. I will just say analyzing the result in the performance testing is one of the crucial things. Okay, so when you do the performance testing, the result that you are getting, because you are gonna get the result in a bulk. Okay, there are too many requests, you will get the too many response time, response data, and all those things. So you need to analyze in average, you need to find the mean, median, and the average of that particular response. You need to get it evaluated by the business teams, and you need to identify if they are matching with our expectation or not. So analyzing the result in performance testing is always crucial. Okay, so analyze the result, identify the performance bottleneck, check server logs, DP queries and API gateways metrics to see how it is going to impact the overall performance of the applications. Then report finding include the charts and latency trend and recommendation. Latency trend and report include a couple of chart in your like most of the times in my experience we use the Power BI dashboard, because the response that we get is the bulk. Okay, and to see that response in a proper way you can either use the Excel to create some chart or graph, or you can use Power BI dashboard to create the customized report for the business team or the management team to understand how your API has been behaved. So you can answer lump sum in like this way: yes, in my experience I have performed the API testing, and for API testing I have used the JMeter tool, I have used the Postman tool, but for the performance testing I would recommend it to use the JMeter tool, because it will help us to do the concurrent testing by creating the number of virtual user at the same times. It provides the parameterizations, and it also provides inbuilt assertions to validate the couple of things. Then it's very easy to integrate with the CI/CD pipeline once you will have your JMeter file ready. Then the common purpose and common flow just says identify the test scenario which API we want to test. So in my case we have used the one API which was the create product and the updating the product information, that we created the throughput for the different number of virtual user, like we have the for scenario, so 500 users in a 5 minutes, then 1000 users in a 5 minutes, then 2000 users in a 5 minutes, and then 10,000 users in a 10 minutes. So these are the approved business scenario that our team has given to us, and based on that we have created our test plan. And whenever we execute our test cases, we normally capture that response time, then P1999 latencies and error rate, and we store that information and we export that information in CSV file. Then we use the Power BI dashboard to import that CSV file data and create the proper report for our team to identify the bottleneck, to identify the API performance mismatch or anything that we are looking on a performance side. Okay, those kind of answer is more than enough for you to do better in interviews. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. If your one of colleague or your friend is preparing for interviews, please share this video to them. Take a screenshot of this screen, and it will also helpful to you to answer in your interviews. Okay guys, take care and keep learning.